constraint, lot of information gathering. So it is a little difficult. Initial difficulty in understanding a particular concept will be encountered slowly and slowly. There is an example given that of a leaning tower of Pisa experiment, example to Z to A approach. If you can see that the objects are falling in the when the tower is at the leaning position. So it's a good concept. In the class also you can make a small objects, how they fall from the top of the objects, like a tower is there, or there are steps, and from where object is falling, how it is falling, the range of falling the objects from the same position, and the range of falling the object from the other position. So you can compare those things and you can have a concrete base, and they can immediately come to the concept that this is the concept and that's why this is falling. Let us go to the next slide. If you see here, you will find that there is a concept of simulation. Simulation means artificial setting, how you make the things live on artificial setting. So there is this is the same experiment taken, that both, as I told you earlier also, both the objects are falling at the same range, but you have to look how they are falling in a balanced form, or it is not falling in imbalanced form. Fine. So this experiment proves the hypothesis correct, that two different size objects fall at the same rate. This is because the rate of acceleration of an object in a field of force, that is gravity, is independent of the object's mass, in bracket if we ignore wind resistance. Now the latest that innovative method is a mnemonics, that is words approach. This is also one of the innovative methods of teaching. And second is a role play and scenario analysis. What is mnemonics? That is very useful. It is very useful for memorizing a certain things. Mostly we are having two types of memory, that is LTM and STM, long time memory and short time memory. What happens, long time memory, our brain is so much well acknowledged with ourselves that we remember those persons or those issues or those incidents which are important in our life, and we rather forget the things that are not important. So our memory is depend upon the level of importance. Fine. In mnemonics, for an example, if I say, let us look at to the teletalk. If I say you have to remember the word brass. Fine. If I ask an individual to remember the word brass, and after 1 month I again ask the same individual that what word was that I told you to remember, then he may forget. So there are techniques of understanding, like first you can understand the concept what is brass. Fine. Or you can have a small shortcut. What is a shortcut? You can associate each words with each other. For an example, B, take it for breathing. R, you can take it for range. A, that's like aim. S, sight, or S, silence. Now you can correlate all these things with this thing, and the ultimate thing will come brass. So this is also one type of word power. Many of the students are facing, like the dyslexic students are facing their or the other students. Apart from this, many of us, me, you and everybody, facing the spelling errors, reciting the poems. Why this is so? Because we are not memorizing it properly in a particular way or in a particular technique. So this is one of the innovative methods of teaching, where a teacher can use this approach, that is a mnemonic approach, and can teach the students very nicely, like to recollect the words, recollect the phrase, recite the poems. All sort of things can be done through mnemonic approach. Second is a role playing and scenario analysis based teaching. Role playing is a very important fact that we all do during the micro teaching lessons. Teacher trainees, especially the BA teacher trainees, are very well acknowledged with the skill of set induction. When we do skill of set induction, there are various ways to introduce the topic. Either you can use visual technique, audio technique, but there is one unique technique with that you can use it in the class, and that is known as role playing. Now what is a role playing? For an example, if you are taking a topic in commerce, that is banking. Okay, when you are taking a topic of banking, you can make a role play. You can create an atmosphere where real banking situations are there, where the transactions are held between persons, the cashier is sitting, the manager is sitting, and you can really make a role play of these things and ask the students what they are doing, what the people are doing, and what is the base of all these things that you come up with. The students immediately will say that this is banking. Same with, you can use any topic and you can make a role play. What happens here is that the students are very active to listen and to hear and to see you, the what type of drama is going on here. So it's a naturalistic effect. They can learn and they can understand what is the concept properly and clearly. So role play is also one of the most effective innovative method where you can teach the students very nicely, starting from the basis to the end. Next slide. As I told you earlier in the lecture also, today is the age of like media, information. You go to the class and you will find that whatever information you are giving is not so much needed. All the information are with from the students itself. So a teacher should never be a teacher. He should be a facilitator, a promoter of learning. And the student should, and a student is like he is receiving information. Nowadays the student receives more information from various resources. As you can see, internet internet is the base of all information. You can go and search anything, but again our students are forgetting that all the informations are fed by ourselves only, the people like you and me. So before doing this, we should authentize what is correct and what is incorrect. So multimedia is also something that gives an extra asset for innovative method of teaching. Now how we can use? You can see in the slide, multimedia or any use of any information technology, the basic thing is that there is appropriate clarity. Fine. You can see there are two things, courses and students need, and in that there are requirements. This is a general idea that how it is required, industry requirements, specializations, medium. The other part under the students needs category, you can see evaluation and assessment or on the job training. These all compel you to take innovative methods, and especially how media contributes in methods of teaching. For an example, if you just see the teletop, you will find that by call. Call means computer assisted language learning. This is also one type of information computer assisted language learning, where you can have the entire topic taken into various things like the pre-task. Then you can go for introduction, main points, or it can be highlighted points, and post task. Now if you see here, you will find that there are four things given. One is a pre-task, other is the introduction, main points or the highlighted points, and the post task. Pre-task is something that I told you, like it is an introduction of the topic. It may be termed as in micro teaching skills as set induction, where you activate the students in the class before coming to the topic. So that is known as a pre-task. Second is the introduction. Introduction means the introduction of the lesson. If it is an English literature or a English prose or poem, then you can introduce the name of the author, the name of the poetess, the name of the poet, etc. Then it is given main points or highlighted points. Main points can be what is the moral of what is the theme of the story or the theme of the poem, or what are the principles involved in it, or what are the theories that revolves around it. So all this you can put it in the slides. And the last is a post task. Post task is something that is activity oriented. For an example, if you have taught solar energy in the class for science, so you make them activate. First of all, we have done our pre-tasking, that means we have activated the students. Second, we have given the main points, or we can say the highlighted points. Then we make them understand the concept of the solar energy. Third thing is that we will give some examples of the lives things, like how solar energy is useful in our real life ways. And the last is a post task. That means you can give them an activity for the example, like you can tell them to make a solar energy farm, or in a farm that is utilized, their things are used only through the use of solar energy things. So things like that can be used, and it can also be associated with computer assisted. With the use of computers, you can take the task, like the pre-task, the introduction points, the main highlighted points, with the use of animations, with the use of you can hyperlink the things, and you can take them to a very next area where they can find and associated all those things very chronologically and very nicely. Last is a post task. That means if you are teaching computer assisted language learning, English language, or any other subjects, it should be like that. In the end, the students are given an activity, and the activity really evaluates your teaching. In the traditional method of teaching, you will be knowing that after the teacher completes the chalk and talk method and relays all the syllabus, at the end of the day you are not evaluated as a student. Only evaluation take place when you appear for the exams. The results are the ultimate way, but in effective innovative methods, the evaluation is done quickly. It's a comprehensive continuous evaluation. The moment you get lot of feedback, you get lot of responses, and the accurate, sometimes specific responses. And even the role of a teacher is not teacher, learner, and then a facilitator. So all in all these things are proceeded in different ways and make the teacher primarily of three things: that he is not a teacher, he is a learner, he is a facilitator, and he is a provider. As I told you that ultimately whatever things that evolves around anything is the teacher itself. The teacher is the greatest innovator. We have the multimedia, we have the innovative methods, but ultimately what is responsible is the teacher itself. The teacher is the great. When you look into the slide, you will find there are certain points given. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Next point you can see: to teach is to learn twice. The next sentence comes: teachers should guide without dictating and participate without dominating. The critical factor is not class size, but rather the nature of teaching as it affects learning. And learning is a never-ending process. Fine. When we talk about the innovative methods and use of technology, call is just a one-way method, one multimedia method. Other methods are like, if you see in the teletop, you will find that there is CAI, that is computer assisted instruction. Where you can take the help of computer for your instruction process or the learning processes. So all in all, it satisfies the thing that teacher, student, and the use of multimedia. Fine. The other process that is like CAI, then you can have virtual classrooms. the use of then smart boards, use of softwares. Fine. So these are the latest multimedia things or the latest innovative ways of teaching to make class more effective and more active. But everything is like, if we have advantages of multimedia, we have the disadvantages of like this multimedia also, because disadvantages like, first and foremost, the teacher should be very well acknowledged with the technology. Second thing, he or she should learn about those things very nicely, or well acquainted with those things, technical things. Third, sometimes it is time consuming. For an example, if you are going into the class and you are getting a topic beforehand, you have to make all these things and it becomes a very tedious job. Second thing, next disadvantages is like, if you are using ICT, then the infrastructure or the classroom should be like that कि every student get activated by your innovative method of teaching, especially when you are using any type of multimedia. It is but natural that sometimes the infrastructure in the classrooms are not so good. Fine. Then what happens when you are teaching through PowerPoint, or when you are teaching through any multimedia processes, rest of the first four benches or the first benches are listening carefully and the rest of the students are in their own world. Fine. So what happens here, because the room is like ventilated, it is dark, and so the teacher is not knowing, the teacher is more concerned about the slides rather than explaining and talking about the main points or analyzing and asking question about those things. So sometimes it become ineffective. So all these things need lot of time, lot of labor, and but this labor and this time constitutes to big effective teaching for when you do innovative teaching methods. Other thing I want to say is that when in BA teaching process, you will find that innovative methods are taught simultaneously